beer hunters and Wadge bankers, welcome back to another episode of the Beer Huntress. I hope you're all exceptionally well. You all know the crack by now. We're going to spin the wheel, it's going to pick a style for us, I'm going to pick a beer from there, and then we're going to review the tasting notes. So shall we crack on? Because I'm definitely thirsty this evening, and I think I would like something very, very juicy, but let's see what the wheel picks for me. Splendid. Sour. And I'm actually glad I said juicy as well, because I've been hoping this would come up. I've got a sour in the sidelines that's been gifted to me, and I've been looking forward to reviewing this one. So let's have a nice juicy sour, shall we? Well, we selected sour, and I said I had something waiting in the pipeline for me. This has been gifted to me by one of my customers. This is from Andrew Hazelden. Thank you very much, Andrew. He gave me this quite a while ago, and unfortunately I've been unable to review it because we haven't landed on sour for quite a while. But I'm really excited to be able to get hold of it. I'm really excited to be able to taste it today, and thank you very much, Andrew. So this is Neon Raptor, and this is their Hydra Fight, which is a 10% pineapple, passion fruit and mango lassi goza. And they describe it as the best way to defend yourself against the mythical creatures that are out there, and that's with an onslaught of fruit and a bit of salt as well. This is another of the big double-digit beers from this brewery. It's going to be really tart, punchy and thick. It's got a massive fruit profile behind it, a big body, really decadent, and it's going to be really delicious, or at least I hope so, but that's what they're saying online. So I've seen some of the reviews for this, and it looks like it's going to be a good one. So shall we crack it open and take a look at this beer? So taking a look at the can artwork, we've got quite a dark can, very, very dark kind of impacted look to it, this kind of bronze tinge going on there, what I call optical feel. The imagery, we've got the Hydra and we've got Heracles here just defeating the Hydra on the front of it. Other than that, there's a little bit of info on the side that's just telling me a little bit how to defend myself against all these mythical creatures from the Roman and Greek mythology. But yeah, pretty basic but pretty impactful. I think part of this range that they're doing at the moment, Neon Raptor, they're definitely eye-catching, but they're not particularly colourful. So there we go, taking a look at that. Absolutely beautiful, slightly hazy, amber goldish, almost slightly orange kind of colour to it. There's a little bit of a white head on there, but yeah, not really holding its head particularly well, which doesn't surprise me for a sour, to be fair, or a goza as it is. Wow, it smells amazing. I smell that mango and passion fruit straight away. And there's definitely that lactic acid thing going on there too. Beautiful. So goza is a top fermenting beer that originates in Goslar in Germany, and it's a part of the wheat beer family to a certain extent, if you can call it that. It's actually very similar to Berliner Weisse. So because it's a part of the wheat beer family, you're going to get a natural haze to this beer. It's not going to come out completely bright the way the glutens break down in wheat, but we'll talk about that more in depth when I do a wheat beer or a Weizen for you. It's characterised by its use of coriander and salt in there, and this one is no exception to that. But this is a lassi goza, which is just slightly different to a normal goza. It's soured by inoculating the wort with lactic acid, so it'll be lactobacillus that goes into there, and it's going to create that really kind of lactic flavour, that kind of like a Greek yogurty kind of off flavour to it, something which is very, very fashionable right now in a lot of kettle souring. So this has been brewed with rock salt, lactose, and with the fruit puree in there as well. So we're going to get a lot of that pineapple, passion fruit and mango fruit puree coming through, adding all those different levels to this particular beer. Now a lassi is a blend of yogurt, spices, water and sometimes fruit in there as well, and it's something that originated in India, and the idea behind introducing it to the goes is that you're going to get that heightened level of that lactic acid, the addition of yogurt in there and that extra bit of fruit, so it's not going to be too much towards the original traditional goes, but we're moving towards the more kind of craft goes, as it were. Before we delve deeper into the history of this brewery, let's have a big swig of this and see exactly what it tastes like. Just by the smell, I think I'm going to love this, but I'm really excited. Here we go. That didn't even have to touch my throat. Instantly I was impressed. Right away, wow. Initially on the tip of my lips, I've got this beautiful strong fruit flavour. Really, really tart, tangy. It's so upfront, it's so forward. And then mixed in that kind of smoothing it out with that mango resting across the top and the roof of my palate, the pineapple hitting right at the back, just resting there, and that passion fruit just underlying the whole thing. The three fruits in this are just all massively distinct. I really like that. When you see something that says like, oh, it's got mango, passion fruit, papaya, all these kind of things, it tends to be a bit of a blend of all of them together, whereas this is really distinctive. All three flavours are coming through really strongly at different points, and that's very impressive. Wow, really mouth-watering, but also really, really smooth. So Neon Raptor started out in Nottingham, which is where they're currently based as well, and they don't have a core range as such. What they do is they produce beers that they hope that people will like, but pretty much beers that they enjoy themselves. Some of their beers have been produced once and never produced again. Some of them have been produced one or two times, and then others have been produced a lot more times. And this is because they feel as though they need to keep moving and working with what they've got available, and just experimenting and trying new things. It's not unusual for breweries to do this. It's not unusual for breweries not to have a core range, and it's quite exciting for us as craft beer drinkers to be able to constantly be excited about what's going to come next from each individual brewery. So Neon Raptor started out several years ago, and it actually was in small batches on their kitchen hob with a Wilco's kit, pretty much, some copper pipe and some garden hose, which is a lot of stories I hear about breweries starting out that way. But yeah, very much a home brewer. And they decided that they wanted to see how they matched up against other home brewers. So they went to the Brewdog Nottingham competition in 2015 and pitched one of their beers, which has become one of their most well-known beers, which is called Endangered, although it has developed considerably since then. And they pitched it in that competition and it won. This gave them the massive boost that they needed in order to be able to try and push themselves into the commercial world. And so they moved into cuckoo brewing or gypsy brewing. Now, cuckoo brewing or gypsy brewing is basically lending another kit from another brewery. So you have a brewery out there that doesn't use their kit as often or as much or 7 days a week, and so you can sneak in on the weekends, or you can sneak in 3 days a week in order to be able to use their kit, and it's classed as cuckooing or gypsying. And so they've carried on doing this for a little while, but in then 2016 they managed to get hold of their own 300 litre kit at the back of the Stumble Inn in Long Eaton. At the start of 2017 they moved to using the kit at Black Hole Brewery, which is based in Burton-upon-Trent, and they were producing 1,000 litres at a time. But then they moved on to a much bigger kit in the October of 2018 when they moved to their final home, which is in Sneinton Market in Nottingham. Since then, they've been doing exceptionally well in that location, including opening their own on-site tap room. So as soon as the COVID nonsense is over, I highly recommend getting yourself down there and checking them out. So exploring this beer a little further, that's what I'm here for. I'm going to have another little taste, and then we're going to talk about where the name comes from. I'm actually Massively impressed by this. Really, really am. Goza to me is usually kind of the soft end of the sour kind of scale. Obviously, you know, you've got your Gozas, your Sayers, Anjou, Berliner Weisses kind of down one end, all the way through kettle sour in XYZ, and then all the way up at the far end of the field, we've got our Flanders Reds and the real balsamico kind of flavours going on there. Some of the Macalla stuff is real kind of like, you know, face melting. But Gozas have always been quite soft and subtle for me. The addition of fruit in this has massively punched up the sourness and just added this additional really tart, almost slightly sweetened tartness to it. It's, yeah, really, really gorgeous. Absolutely loving it. And that balance between those three flavours, of having them just demonstrating their own kind of weight in different ways. You know, you've got that mango up front, I've got that pineapple up the top, I've got that passion fruit just resting down at the bottom. That's wonderful. It's, you know, I'm getting all three kind of flavours coming through individually. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about why it's called Hydra, because I have a feeling this was done intentionally. So the Hydra is part of Roman and Greek mythology, and it is a serpentine water creature whose lair is said to actually be at the gates of the underworld. In canonical Hydra myth, Heracles or Hercules, depending upon how you want to term him, and with the aid of his nephew defeated the Hydra creature. The problem that they had whilst trying to defeat the monster is that every time they chopped off one of his heads, another two would appear. So eventually they used their swords and fire in order to be able to cauterize the wounds and stop the heads regrowing. Now this is why I think this is really important for this beer, and I'm hoping this is the reason why they've called it. Because to me, I'm finding that the three flavours, the pineapple, the passion fruit and mango, are working as the three Hydra heads to attack at my taste buds and give me a good fight between all three of them. And they're all giving a very good fight. I can't decide which one's coming out more prominently, I can't decide which one's taking over above the others. And yeah, I'm just definitely loving the way that these are attacking my taste buds, and loving the kind of little Hydra fight that I've got going on. So yeah, perfectly named beer. With an awful lot of sour beers, my palate has a tendency to get used to them after a few sips, and I tend to lose that initial tartness and that initial strength and that initial kind of impact on the taste buds. With this, it's holding its weight and it's all coming through because of that fruit. That fruit puree is just giving me such a wonderful experience with this beer. Mango right at the front, pineapple right across the top, passion fruit right across the bottom. Gorgeous. Very much enjoyable. Well guys, if you've had this, then let me know in the comments what you thought of it. As always, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I've enjoyed drinking this beer. I'm going to drink the rest of this and enjoy it very much. I shall see you all next time for another episode of the Beer Huntress. Keep wadge banking and cheers. If you enjoyed this video guys, then please like, subscribe and share it with your friends. Hit that notifications button to get alerts when our new video is out. We're also on Facebook, Twitter and on Instagram, so check out the links in the description and follow us on there as well. If there's anything you'd like to see us review, please pop it in the comments and we'll pop it in the pump for later. Keep wadge banking and I shall see you all next time for another episode of The Beer Huntress.